Have you ever been in a situation where your friend's boyfriend thought it was wise for him to ask you out? What did you do about it? Okay, because I'm about to tell you what I did about mine while I get ready for church. My friend stayed on the highland, I stayed on the mainland, and I have always been procrastinating, due to the commute and all of that stuff. However, the procrastination ended and we decided on a date. I mean, it was even like an impromptu, but we picked a date and it worked. So on my way down there, because I had to take an Uber from my house to where she stays on the island. On our way down to where she stays, she told me, oh, her boyfriend got an hotel room where I could stay. The water issue is one thing some areas on the highland kind of deal with. So, she said her boyfriend just, thought it would be nice for me to stay in an hotel so I don't have to deal with the water issue. And I'm like, oh, that's so nice and thoughtful of him. So my Uber, instead of my Uber taking me to our house, my Uber took me to the hotel. When my Uber finally got to the hotel, my friend came downstairs to come pick me and we both went upstairs to the hotel room. When we got upstairs, I met her boyfriend. We exchanged pleasantries and we started talking. In the middle of our conversation, that was when he found out that I was Yoruba, because he is Yoruba. However, my friend is not Yoruba. So, because of the fact that he was Yoruba, we were able to like vibe, talk, like bawo nishowa, stuff like that. And that was it. So it was time for him to leave because the room was actually for me and my friend. So he was like, oh, are we good? Do we need anything? However, he made provisions so me and my friend could be good. And in case we needed anything, just send her money, like she should get me whatever I wanted. I won't lie to you, I was so comfortable. Like the food was good. I was even having like toothache issues, but I still made it work. In a nutshell, we were comfortable all through the night. And while we were there that night, I and my friends started having like conversations like, oh, how did you meet this guy? She started gisting me, stuff like that. Oh, she told me this guy has been like an helper to her. He has been there. He has, everything. I was so happy that finally she found someone that, could actually be there for her, which was actually what I wanted. So she told me all the good stuff, how, paid her rent, gave her money on deals. She's like out of cash. My friend works, like she has a good job that pays well. However, I just felt like that guy was like a bonus, a good bonus to her. So when she told me all the stuff, I was so ecstatic for her. It was the next day and she was like, oh, before I leave, let's go out because I can't just come and, just spend the night and go back. So she was like, let's go out. So we went out. We went to this big cinema over there. I can't really remember the name because honestly, everything is kind of blurry, but I remember the details I want to share with you guys. So we went to the cinema, we watched a movie, we had something to eat. Everything I was just buying, she was paying the bills because she said he gave her the money to get everything I needed. And I was just chilling. I was just enjoying myself. She was like, Deborah, do you still want to stay like for another night? I'm like, no, I'm going to the market because, back then I used to do my POS business in Alaba International Market. As you all know, like most of you who have been following me will be familiar with that. So I told her, no, I gotta go because I have to go to the market tomorrow to do my own business. The movie was over, we had fun, and it was time for me to go back to the mainland. So I ordered an Uber, and at this point, she was like, oh, she's gonna send me money for the Uber. I'm like, why? She was like, our boyfriend sent her the money to send to me so I can use it to pay for my Uber. And I'm like, tell your boyfriend, thank you. I am grateful because I wasn't even expecting all this kind of gestures. I'm like, this man is a good man. Thank him for me. Sure you get. She's like, oh, that's how he is. He's such a nice person. I took an Uber back to the mainland, back to my house, and I went to work the next day. I just moved on with my life. And now this is where everything gets interesting. So the next day when I got to the market, just minding the business that pays me, my phone rang. And it was a strange number that I do not have on my phone. So when I picked up the call, it was like, this so person. I'm like, who is this? Then I found out that this was my friend's boyfriend calling me. At that point, I was shocked because I did not know how he got my number. At the same time, I was like, oh, hi, good afternoon, stuff like that. And I was in the market and it was so noisy. So he was like, yeah, how are you doing? Stuff like that. I said, I'm fine. Oh, thank you for yesterday. I'm so grateful. I was just thanking him for everything he did. But at the same time, I was like, how did he get my number? Sure, you get. I'm actually in a noisy place that can we talk later? I'm like, okay, sure, we can talk later. But right now, I'm in the market. He was like, okay, we'll call me later when I'm less busy. I said, okay, fine. So at this point, I'm like, how did he get my number? So what I did was I called my friend. I'm like, hi, what's up? Your boyfriend called me. Oh, how did he get my number? Oh, she now said, yeah, she was the one that gave her boyfriend my number. Like, he wanted to like check up on me, to talk to me. I did not really. I'm like, okay, maybe it's like, maybe because we are both Yoruba, she gets. So I'm like, okay, oh, that, yeah, because he called me to check up on me. I was like, just relaying everything to her. Like, actually called me to check up on me. That I was like, I just wanted to be sure of how he got my number. She said, yeah, she was the one. Like, my friend now was telling me, like, she was one that gave her boyfriend my number since he requested for it, to just check up on me. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. When I got home that day, he called me and, we got talking, and that was when he started saying the things he wanted to say. And what are the things he wanted to say? You're like, oh, he really likes me. And I'm like, I wasn't actually expecting those things from him when he was saying those things. That, oh, he just want us to like get to see each other. Because he kind of like me. At this point, I was like, I don't get you kind of like me like how? You're in a relationship with my friend. How come you kind of like me? Why would you want to be in an entanglement with me? Sure, you get what I'm saying? Well, like, oh, it doesn't matter. My friend does not have to know. How? You're in a relationship with my friend. He knew that the person I was involved with was an American. And it was like, Mama, buy more in Bolowo. At this point, I'm like, hold on. Oh, that was when I knew that my friend has misruled. He didn't stop there. Oh. He started calling, sending me messages on WhatsApp, sending me list of clothes from different designers, telling me I should pick anyone that's going to pay. At this point, I'm like, I cannot keep this to myself again. So I needed to share with someone who knows my friend and know me. This was like a big sister that knows the both of us, and both of us know her. So I shared everything going on with her. Like, this is what I'm facing right now. Because remember, my friend said this was a person who is actually helping her. Like, he has actually made her life easy, pays her rent, send her monthly allowance, even send money to her mom. I mean, in a nutshell, I needed a way to actually process the whole situation before I can actually drop this bombshell on her. So I needed someone to talk to, and the person I needed to talk to was someone who knows the both of us and who is more matured. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I told her everything. She was like, So at this point, she's like, you know what, Deborah? Since the man wants to be unfortunate, get to meet him in person and get evidence. That was what she said. And then you can actually drop the bombshell on your friend. And I'm like, okay, but I don't want to see him. Like, everything was just like kind of cringe. I tried all my best to hold all of this in because I was about to explode. I'm like, I need to let this out. But the big sister on the other hand was like, the bro, just calm down. You will let it out. Just hold on a bit. I will not lie, for a fact, this man, but there are limits to things. I know be I never shop. I know be I never shop. I mean, this man did not stop. Like, he kept bombarding my WhatsApp with images of designer stuff and all of that. So he was like, oh, take whatever you want, he's gonna pay for it and they will send it to me. I'm like, no, I'm not just vibing with this. If this is how you get your girls, I'm not vibing with this. If you want to get me something, okay, get me a Toyota, like get me a car. And I'm like, getting me a car is not even a problem. At least before you can get me a car, we'll get to know each other, would have been more close than this and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, you don't want to get a car. Can you get me an iPhone? Because back then I wanted to change my phone. So you were like, okay, you want an iPhone? Can you come? Let's just see. And I'm like, because you want to get me an iPhone, I should come and see you. Like, I don't grab, I do not get. So, but like, yeah, I mean, just for us to see and stuff like that. He'll give me the money for the iPhone. You guys should not forget that the way we were having this conversation, I was giving feedback to our big sister, telling her everything he was saying and what he wanted me to do. Eventually, guys, we picked a day to meet. So he told me to come meet him at Radisson Blue in Ikeja. Like I always did, I conveyed everything to the person I've been conveying everything to, our big sis. She said, okay, you know what, Deborah, you gotta be careful, but, take me through every process I should get there. I said, sure. I dressed up. I was just wearing a very simple gown. Took an Uber from my house, and then I got to Radisson Blue. When I got to the front desk, I told them and they directed me. And then I got to the room. I was like, hi, hi, we exchanged pleasantries. I sat down on the couch. He was on the bed, sitting down. And he was like, hi, how you doing? And he was like, oh, he's traveling from here. He's going to the village, like to do some stuff, blah, blah, blah. I just wanted to see me before he goes. I'm like, okay, that's good. He was like, okay, why are you like this now? Come and sit down on the bed. And I know I'm okay on the couch. I will not lie to you guys. That was like the longest 15 to 20 minutes of my life because I already knew what he wanted, but I am not giving it to him. And this man, on the other hand, is not dumb. He's not going to give you what you want until your back is on the bed. And that's not going to be me. So at this point, what did I do? I just took out my phone. I was just, doing a video with a mirror. There was this round mirror in the room. So I was just doing a video and then I was zooming in. And then as I was zooming in, I make sure I captured his face while zooming in. And then he was about to notice and I was like, am I videoing him? I said, no, I'm not videoing you. I'm just doing a, mirror video of myself. Can't I do a mirror video of myself? And then when I did what I did, I just told him after that I was about to leave. And, what's up? He was like, well, he doesn't have the money for the phone right now. I was just laughing inside, like, I was expecting that. Meanwhile, all this bag that men carry, there was money. Like it was obvious. Like I don't know if he did that intentionally, but there was bundle of cash in that bag. But that's none of my business. So when he said that, I wasn't surprised because I was actually expecting that since I did not give him what he wanted. So what he did was he gave me like a bundle of probably like 50K. If I'm to look at the size of that money, I'll say it was like 50K. So he just dropped the money on the bed. He said I should use it for my taxi. When I am not a bastard, I left his money there. I said, thank you, have a good day. Guess what? He started calling me like crazy, bombing my phone with calls. Guys, at this point, I was already in a Uber going back to my house. I did not pick his call. Started sending messages. Messages is sent were like, why didn't you take the money on the... I said, what do I want to use your money for? You said I should come because of this. But now you're saying if I do not give you this, you will not give me that. So I am not interested, And besides, I already got the evidence that I wanted. So we're good. He kept calling me, bombarding my phone. And then I was still telling her big sister, this is what's happening. What's up? She was like, if he's bombarding your phone, what does it want? I said, he wants me to send my account number. He wants his assistant to send me some money. And then she was like, Deborah, what thing they do you? Send your account number, not be free money. You use your money, carry Uber, go there. You still use your money, carry Uber, come back. At least you use that money for whatever. I'm like, okay, it's free money. I sent my account details to the number he said I should send my account details to. And then I got an alert of 100K. This was the hair I used the money to buy. I will tell you that I bought this hair maybe like 2 times or 3 times that I bought it about, let me say, like 5 years ago now. But yeah, this was what I used the money to buy. At this point, it was eating me up inside because I needed to let my friend know. I don't care if this is going to spoil your relationship, but I gotta let you know what I gotta let you know. The truth. So I told our big sis, like, I think it's time for me to let her know. She was like, yeah, you're right. You need to let her know regardless because you can't keep on holding this forever. Drum roll, guys. I eventually told my friend. It was a long conversation, but I did eventually. But my question for her was, why did you give him my number? And she was like, she kind of thought about it, but she was just like, maybe he just wanted to check up on me with no strings attached. And I was like, And of course, I did not forget the video evidence. So, oh yeah, I sent it to her just in case he wants to deny it or you do not believe me as my friend. That is the video evidence that, yeah, your man asked me out and told me to come meet him in an hotel room. Yeah. I also told her he sent me 100K and I actually used that money to buy the hair. And my friend was like, if I hadn't picked that call when he was bombarding my phone, he would have sent more than that. And I'm like, I'm good. Honestly, I noticed she kind of distanced herself from me. When I was in Nigeria last year, I and my friend, we got to see again. And I actually told her that she distanced herself from me. Immediately after I told her what, transpired between her and a man, no secret. Told her, everything. So I told her like that was just what me I noticed though. But she said otherwise, she said that was not the reason why she was distant, which I was like, okay. We even got to talk about, other things. And I was actually trying to know if they were still together, but she did not want to talk about it, which I respect because it is none of my business after all. The most important thing is I am free, and I am free indeed, free like a bird. Nothing is eating me up anymore. If you ask me if I have any regrets for telling my friend, no, I don't, because it was the right thing to do, and she has the right to know whoever she's dealing with. Yeah, that was the right thing to do. So no regret. I know I am not the only one on this table. I know that one, two, many of you have actually experienced this. What did you do? Did you date them? Did you try to extort money from them without getting involved? But how is that possible, Nigerian men? Or did you tell your friend, which is actually the right thing to do? What did you do? This is my outfit for today. And yes, I am ready for church. And of course, I will see you in my next video.